Especially when we're separated or going through a divorce, our friends rally around us and our family. Then there seems to be this point where they're saturated with listening to you talk about you all the time because friendship isn't transactional. There is a lot of reciprocity in it, but at some juncture, they don't want to hear it anymore.
Welcome to the Total Health and Midlife podcast, the podcast for women over 40 who want peace with food, ease in their habits, and a body that they don't have to fight with. Hey there, and welcome to the Total Health and Midlife podcast. I am your host, Elizabeth Sherman. Okay, so I want you to picture this. You've been in a marriage for years, maybe even decades. You've raised kids, built a life, and now you're navigating divorce and wondering, who even am I now? Today's conversation is for the woman who feels like the rug has been pulled out from under her. Whether you're in the middle of a divorce, thinking about one, or you're years out and still feeling stuck, this episode is going to feel like a deep exhale. I am joined by Valerie Simms, a coach who's part financial strategist, part spiritual guide, and 100% devoted to helping women rebuild their lives after divorce. She is someone who gets the emotional chaos, the practical overwhelm, and the identity shift that comes with this season of life, especially if your identity was wrapped up in being someone else's wife or someone's mom. And if you're still angry or feel like you should be over it by now, quote unquote, Valerie's going to show you why that's not your fault and what to do about it. This is one of those episodes where you'll want to grab a journal or maybe even hit replay, because if you've ever felt alone in this process, Valerie will remind you, you totally are not. So let's dive in. All right, everyone. Welcome Valerie Simms to the Total Health and Midlife podcast. Valerie, I am so glad that you got to join me today, and I'm really excited about our conversation. So let's start off with introduce yourself to the folks that are listening. Tell them what you do, who you help, and we'll just start it there.
Awesome. Well, thank you for having me, Elizabeth. Lovely to be here and speak to all of you. Yeah, my journey really began when I experienced a divorce, and I was working mom, and thought everything was great, and then everything went sideways, and I started to feel that this was really an underserved area of coaching or of skills because I didn't feel that I needed therapy, and we can get into that a little bit as we go. I didn't need any financial advice or mindset coaching because I was a financial planner. So I had a lot of areas covered. However, I started to see that there were several other ones that weren't. And I struggled for many years to find my place and the woman that I was going to become and given maybe the opportunity to become. So I found that through my financial planning business, I ended up doing a lot of coaching, and I ended up really narrowing down to just working with women. And I ended up working with women that were divorced or single and trying. So, and I found, although I coached them on their finances, I ended up coaching them on education, on emotional issues and different practices. And I found it really started to grow and I enjoyed it. And I found as I started to grow as a single woman in her 40s and single mother, I became a yoga teacher. I became a Reiki practitioner. I became a meditation teacher. So I combined that right brain and that left brain together. And I resigned from my financial planning gig and started this coaching process. And it's been about 10 years now. And although I can't tell people what to buy with respect to investments because I don't work for a registered company anymore, so my licenses don't remain active. I've been able to take what I learned, through like 25, 30 years of working in that industry and apply it to what I do, some really practical, tactical work, and then taking my new found knowledge of spirituality and our mindset and our personal growth, providing an adaptive process. So then I'm able to give this whole type of coaching to my clients. And so that's where I came. It was birthed out of a need or need where I desired what I give now. So had I been able to meet someone like me back 20 years ago, I think the process would have been a lot easier, a lot quicker, a lot less painful. So that's really how this all evolved, and a desire to help women become empowered. A lot of women I work with, for whatever reason, feel very disempowered. They have this life they were expecting and something happened, and they're in a great deal of emotion and stress with it. But the biggest part is providing the community for a woman to realize, hey, I rebuild. It's okay if it's messy. It's not going to be perfect. My ex-husband might laugh at me, but I'm not to really worry about that, am I? And just to help with that process. So that's how it all came about.
Yeah. So I have so many questions. First of all, I think like your mix of skills is completely fascinating. So you said at the very beginning that you were going through a divorce and you found that you didn't need financial advice because you were already a financial planner and you already had these other pieces, but there was something missing. Talk more about that something missing and how you serve your community in a way that
Yeah, I found that the first thing I'll say is emotional support. Actually, when we're separated or going through a divorce, our friends rally around us and our family. Then there seems to be this point where they're saturated with listening to you talk about you all the time because friendship isn't transactional. There is a lot of reciprocity in it, but at some juncture, they don't want to hear it anymore. They have their families, their husbands, your sister and your mother, they have their things they're doing too. They can't always be talking about you. So there seemed to be, and rightly so, at some point, they can't, every time they see you coming, like, oh, here we go, kind of thing. Although they love you, it just becomes a drain. So that emotional support, a place where I could maybe say, okay, I'm off today. I need help with a reset or something like that, 'cause our family and friends love us, but they don't always give the best advice because they don't wanna see you hurt. And as a coach, I don't wanna see anyone hurt either. Sometimes that's where our biggest breakthroughs are, when we just have that sort of realization. And other things around decision making, like sometimes you'd be overwhelmed and like, how do I make all these decisions at once? I need someone to hold me accountable because it's a very high stress time. And if you've ever made decisions when you're fully emotional, I know I have, and not using any logic, you make a bad decision. You're like, "Oh, man, I regret that." So, that was the other thing. The co-parenting strategies. I have a son, and he was a young son at the time, and being a mom, and then all of a sudden, your child is gone. I had a week on, week off, and that was hard. And he didn't dress them like I did, so in my mind, that was wrong. Although with my son, he didn't care. He didn't care. He had clothes on. He didn't care. So working around strategies like that to get, oh shoot, I gotta learn to live with this. I have not gonna be my way or the highway. And communication skill, but how to communicate that as well. Because so many people going through divorce, it's high tension, yelling, screaming, what have you. It might make it's good for the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills or something. It's good TV for them, but in real life, no, it's not effective. Your kids are watching, they're learning communication from you. You feel bad, it's damaging to your soul and to the person you're trying to become. It's such a setback. So that was another one. And although obviously I'm not a lawyer, I can't talk about legal. However, it's so important to have some coaching around being prepared for these legal appointments. Like this is your life. You're going to hear things that you're not maybe going to agree with or understand, and you're going to have to capitulate on some of your issues. So really just having some insight. And I would say the biggest thing is being prepared. And the lawyers are charging you for the service. And the more prepared you are, the lower your bill is going to be. And I know that sounds emotionally charged situation, that sounds like I'm being very cold, but it's facts. So I've helped women just to get their mindset around the fact that we do have to do this tactical work. This is not fun. It's not pretty, but I help to hold space for that. Again, the financial planning part, getting really clear about what money is and what it does for you and where it comes from. Your credit card limit is not a goal. It's not a target. You try to hit every month and just take, which is huge, especially if the woman isn't working full time or if she hasn't been one looking after investments or whatever. When I was a financial planner, I did work with some couples and I would never meet with one without the other because it's that important. And identity, self identity building. If you're in a couple and then all of a sudden you have to go to a party by yourself, it's odd. It's the oddest thing. Honestly, you don't know what to do with your hands. You're like, "Oh, what do I do?" That type of thing. A lot of self-identity building and self-worth and helping to build your support network again. That's a huge part, like getting out there. I don't necessarily work with dating. That's not there's a lot of awesome dating coaches out there, and I do refer, but it is a big part of it. And goal setting and future forecasting. Like, think about it. You're so in this emotional, but it's not going to last forever if you don't let it. So, okay, this is your opportunity. I'm, I'm sorry this had to happen, but it's an opportunity that you've been given or you happen to you. You just sometimes got to make the best of it. So let's plan a future together and bringing in all kinds of my Reiki and my yoga to have different types of energy healing so that you won't be so stressed. And then maybe a year or two down the road, you can put it behind you. I have some clients that are just going through a divorce. I have some women that have been divorced for 10 years and they're still angry. They're still living as if they're still married. They still haven't let go. And these are beautiful souls, lovely women, has so much to contribute. So I work with anyone from that sphere on, and it's liberating for them. It really is. And it's an honor. It's a best basically a passion for me.
Yeah. So as you were talking, I was taking notes. You saw I was taking notes. Um, and so I want to go back to a couple of these because I think that they're really great and we can talk a little bit more about them. So, like, for example, your one of the things I think is so important about coaching is that we often go to our friends for advice, our friends and our family, right? But typically, those people have opinions. And I can only imagine that when it comes to a marriage, a divorce, that those people are going to have opinions about what you should and should not do. So, and on both sides, right? Like, oh, you should leave him or, oh, you should stay together, depending on where that person is in their own safety of their relationship. And like, I can totally see that as a friend, your or your friend would say, like, oh, you should stick it out because they're afraid of losing this couple friend, right? And so I would have to imagine that's like a really strong suit to work with a coach.
Oh, definitely. And also the extreme loss, because some women lose all their friends because for whatever reason, but once you become single, you were maybe a fringe kind of friend. And so you're not part of that couple and that's what they're looking for. So you're let out and left out in the cold and you thought, oh wow, this was a good friend. And they're probably a lovely person, more of an acquaintance. But it can be very devastating because no one asks you to go do things anymore. So
Yeah. Well, and I've heard that before that when people get divorced that they lose their friendships because of whatever couple reasons, whether it's insecurity of their relationship or now that you're not coupled anymore, therefore you're a threat or I'm not inviting you out because we're going out as couples and I don't want you to feel like the third wheel. So,
a lot of rebuilding, and that's why building your own social network at that point is so important.
Yeah.
because there is a lot of loneliness involved. And to be aware of that, some people have they might people say, "Oh, go out to some bars and go have some fun," but it ends up maybe potentially being a depressing event or what have you. And maybe the odd time is fine, but to make a habit of it, it's really not going to get you propelled forward. And then thinking about, and this would be more of the dating coach situation, but what kind of relationship do you want? Sometimes we really romanticize what we're in a relationship, and that's fine. However, then once you get over this divorce and you start to rebuild, like, wow, I don't want this. We all know what we don't want, but what do we want? And to get really crystal clear on that. And you'd be surprised at how many times we can manifest this new partner. One client of mine wanted someone that got in, I forget all the different things she had, but even the way they would hold her hand and all these type of things. And we did this big manifestation and she tucked it away. And later down the road, she did meet someone. And after the relationship really settled into a quality relationship, she opened it up and many of the things that she had wanted were in fact on there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. So it's it's exciting. It's empowering. It's lovely to see.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I'm glad you brought up like the friendships. But the other aspect that I wanted to go back to was that identity piece. Like that is really huge. Like identifying as a divorced woman and all of the shame in our society that goes along with that as well. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Even in this is recorded in 2025, it's still a thing.
Yeah.
It is really a thing. And then once you become single, oh, you got to meet someone, you got to meet someone, and it's almost like if you don't have a gentleman in your life, you're nothing, or what's your problem, or that kind of thing. Yeah, it's so bizarre to me. So that's why I really work on that self identity when you're in a marriage, maybe you get lost sometimes and you're overgiving. So it's an opportunity to go, how are you with boundaries going forward in your next relationship or situationship or whatever you want to go for? You don't have to get married again. What are your boundaries? Where's your morals? Where's your values? What is your limit? And not to be afraid to say, oh, you know what, that's there. I see where you're coming from. However, this is my perspective. And just learning again that communication and getting comfortable with not being in a couple. That for some women is very hard, stressful, extremely stressful. So you just take baby steps to start developing who you are and what you want to do. And when we work in coaching, we have this container of time, usually 6 months I like to work in. So there's we can't cover everything. So we pick we call them cycles of development, where we want to work on developing within that 6 months. So a lot of times self identity, self development is number one because it's the foundation, isn't it? Really.
Well, and I can only imagine that you also brought up the I don't want to say loneliness, but just the weirdness of co-parenting when your child isn't with you. If you identify as a wife and a mother, and then all of a sudden you are alone in your house, you're like, oh, well, who am I if I'm not a wife and a mother anymore? And so I can only imagine how important that is to figure out like who is Valerie if she's not Jason's mother or whatever.
Oh, 100%. And I think a lot of times through these kind of maybe rock bottom moments is where our growth comes from. And I know it did for me. And then I would actually make notes about, okay, what are all those things? How you get really busy in life? You're like, oh, I just had some time. I'd refinish furniture, or if had some time, I'd go to that library that I'd already seen that's super cool looking. Or if I had some time, I'd go to a museum, or whatever it is you want to do. If I had some time, I see these painting classes that people go to. So you start journaling. I'm a big journaler, pen to paper. Really, that process really gets it in from your subconscious part of your brain, brings it to the board, and that's where you start to make your changes. And I work with women to do that because that's what I started to do. Oh, like, I'd really like to bike. I really want to bike 100 kilometers in a special event, or I really want to do a triathlon. I've never had time. So I started to use all these things to propel my personality with love, not blaming anybody. And from there, you meet people and you start to create your own tribe and you meet like minded people. And then you're having invited to dinners and events. And that loneliness starts to fill up and starts to become fulfilling. And then when you meet someone that fill your manifestation, it just evolves very easily. So which is really future planning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love that because then the approach that I hear you saying is taking is that you become whole and start to love yourself and be who you are. And through that, then you start attracting others to you instead of like being like, oh, I need to go out and find friends. And it it just feels like filling your cup first and then it overflows that where other people are like, "I love what she's doing, I want that." And you just then attract people that way, yeah?
Oh, for sure. And I remember the first time I joined this hiking group, because it's just not safe to go hiking by yourself in the woods. And I found this group and I made some lifelong friends, people that are still in my world today and in my network, and they've helped me so much. However, I get to help them too. And then you become that person when you see the new woman show up who was you 10 years ago, you get an opportunity to give back. And it's that reciprocity. You're like, hey, welcome to the club. And you got to make sure you come Tuesdays. And did you sign up for this or whatever? And it just becomes more about giving instead of worrying about yourself all the time. And then you bringing more of that into your life, people that are giving.
Yeah. So what are some of the misconceptions that folks have when they think about divorce coaching?
Yeah, that's so important. One thing we are not is we're not therapists. A lot of people, unfortunately, have come from a divorce situation. There could be trauma, there could be abuse, there could be a number of issues that need to be addressed by a therapist. It's really not, it's beyond my purview. My license doesn't have, I don't have the training for that. There's amazing skilled people that are so dedicated to helping women through these types of issues. So that is a that's usually before someone joins me in my coaching, we would have a conversation. And I would ask about that because I want people to come to me when they're ready and not to waste their time or potentially make them feel bad. So, and a lot of times I do work with some therapists coach, some don't. And so once their client is ready, then I say, hey, she's ready to move on. So that's the big thing. We complement it, but we don't replace therapy, especially when there's issues. And
So let me ask you, because I always struggle with this answer and I'm wondering what you say. So how do you describe the difference between coaching and therapy?
certainly coaching is about moving forward. So I take Elizabeth comes to me and I can take her through the steps forward to her future. With therapy, there's been things in the past. Maybe there's situations in the present that are triggering her, that are causing her distress or depression. Maybe there's need, I don't know, addictions or bad behaviors or what have you that are brought on by stress. Maybe medication needs to be involved, all those things. So the therapy part comes in for someone who has things from the past that are affecting the present and not allowing them to move forward, or in their present that's not allowing them to move forward. And once they get with a therapist and these are addressed and therapist, you're cool now, you go call Val and get in with your coaching. Then we move forward.
Yeah. I like the idea of like, if you think about sports, like a physical therapist gets you back to baseline and a coach makes you better.
Oh, yeah, I love that. so much so. And carrying on with that analogy, if you take the person, oh, just skip that physical therapy, get out there and play, they could be injured worse, or they could re-injure themselves and then have a super big setback, and it's not healthy. So yeah, that's a perfect way of looking at it.
Yeah.
And I do encounter that sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah,
Mhm.
and I know I've had plenty of clients who see a therapist at the same time as working with me as well.
Right.
And
Me too.
so, yeah.
Yeah. And I always ask them to tell their therapist that they're working with the coach, and if their therapist says, "Hey, maybe wait for a bit," then we do.
Mhm.
Yeah. Another big difference too is coaching isn't really about a crisis. I can't coach you in a crisis. Oh my God, I went to a party and I'm a hot mess and I was just so nervous and anxious. I didn't know what to do. I could give you some chat right away. But again, we need that container of time to work through cycles of development. So we're not a crisis kind of thing, that type of thing. So it's not really a quick fix solution. And again, just being neutral and balanced with the guidance in that area. If I don't feel someone is open to that or what have you, who's looking for a quick fix, then that's probably not the right. You probably do need to maybe talk to someone else first. But I think that I work so closely with some therapists with their clients. You do. And I don't know, it's the best thing because I'm not trained to maybe refer to different therapies or what have you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how would a woman know to engage with you and to seek out your work?
Yeah. A couple of things come to mind when you're overwhelmed.
Mm,
A lot when there's overwhelm and you're paralyzed with that type of decision making. You have so many decisions to make. That's a good time to see a coach so that we can work on clarity. When we can make a list. Oh, you have a question? I'm sorry.
yeah, I just had a question of, do women come to see you before they've actually filed for divorce or when they're yeah? Okay.
Sometimes, so everyone's individual. So some women are they've decided and they're going to file. It's just that personality type that kind of wants to proactively maybe set their ducks up or before or what have you. They just have this sort of awareness that I will need this. As I mentioned, some people, it's 10 years down the road.
Mm, okay,
Yeah, that type of thing. Yeah.
okay.
And when you have the desire for growth and you don't know what to do, that's stuck, what have you, that's your signal, "Oh, I should probably get a coach because that will definitely speed things up." And when people are stuck in the past, women find they're constantly stuck in the past or maybe romanticizing, "Oh, I'm have Christmas, just me and my aunt and my puppy dog," or whatever. I wish I had that big family thing again. Maybe it was a really hyper tense Christmas and really not that enjoyable, but we had that Norman Rockwell this card. And feeling isolated when a woman is feeling perhaps isolated and seeking community and needing some of that guidance and support, like another kind of twig that, oh, coaching would work for me. Yeah.
Well, and you mentioned earlier anger. So, like, if you, what I hear you saying is like, if you feel like you should be over it already and you're not, maybe that's a good time.
Yeah. If you're healthy and there's been a lot of time, and like I say, you start to notice your friends and family, they're not really open to these discussions anymore because they want a friendship with you. They're not your counselor, they're not your coach type of thing. And when you start to sense maybe some of that, or maybe you're left out of things because you're constantly in that living in the past or what have you. And it happens. Don't judge yourself. Just unbiased. I'm not judging or what have you. But when you start to sense those type of things, and now, like some of your friends, if they say you need some help, you should talk to a coach, or maybe you need some coaching. Take that. Don't take that advice and go, yeah, maybe so, and then start to look around. And any type of if you're having conflicts with the parenting kind of situation, the co-parenting, or just really need some support. That's what oftentimes when a client comes to me, it's like, I'm not really sure. And that's where we have a conversation and we determine what really needs to be worked on first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, do you have any suggestions on steps that women can take to ensure they maintain their mental and emotional health during this whole process?
Definitely. Like the first thing is get to a self-care routine. Like I and as Elizabeth, you've been on my show, the self-care show. It's huge. Like it's you're not being a queen bee or a princess or empress or whatever. Take care of yourself. I've had some women, light a candle, have a bath, have that time. And one woman told me this. She was doing her MBA at the time and she was going through a divorce. And we were just starting at the basics. And her son laughed at her. What are you doing? And she's like, I'm taking care of myself. You're fine. And it got to the point where he would say, Oh, "Oh, do you want me to light the candle for you tonight, mom? Are you having a bubble bath?" So she was in essence helping her son realize that women need certain types of care and some habits of self-care and emotional expression too. Like really work on how you express your emotions. A lot of people in a marriage and they're just so angry. They're so hurt. They've been so embarrassed in some situations, so just being mindful of how you express your anger and who you express it to. Just be aware. You don't need to tell the lady standing beside you at the grocery store your whole life situation, which a lot of women tend to do because they want that nurturing. Oh, you're going to be okay. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Just to be very mindful. Physical activity. I am a yoga teacher. Get your body moving. And I'm sure you would agree with that. You don't have to go and do the advanced class. You can go to a restorative class, take your money and go. You'll meet cool people. You'll meet a community of people that are all about love and growth and guidance. And you might even cry your first yoga practice. I know I did when I was going through it. But that's okay. It was a release and you come out calmer.
Stop there for just a second. I find with myself and with many of my clients that emotions, we have like 2 different, like, categories of emotions. We have emotions that want movement, and we have emotions that want to hide, right? Like sadness and grief and shame, and those ones you just wanna go into your bedroom and put the covers over you. Whereas anger, stress, anxiety, those types of emotions, like, they need to move through your body, and so, like, if you're feeling those types of emotions, that's where doing some movement can really be helpful. Yeah.
And I'll also say with that, be mindful if you're going the other direction. If you're running a marathon every morning before 8 o'clock, that's an avoidance technique as well.
Mhm.
So it has to be I guess we should say a balanced amount of physical activity.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also get into some sort of mindfulness practice. Meditation, that's when I took up meditating
Mm,
for being in the airport and thinking, I got to do something. I was just so stressed. And I flew to California and I went to Deepak Chopra's university and learned how to meditate and been doing
amazing.
that for those 20 years. So, because our mind is so powerful. And so go to a sound bath and go check that out or go to some sort of, I don't know, different type of music, symphony or something relaxing or different and journal. It's a way you can rip it up afterwards if your words on how to read it. It's such a cathartic process of getting what on your mind out and then getting on up into your mind where you want to go. It's just a beautiful practice. And the last 2 things is eat a balanced diet. Honestly, some women get so thin during this stressful time, and that is so hard. It's hard on your
The
heart.
divorce diet, yes.
Yes, it's hard on your kidneys. And everyone says, oh, you look so great. You've lost weight. But then there gets to be that point where it's harmful. So I know be so mindful of how you're eating. And if you go the other road and do a drive-through routine, just be so mindful. If that's soothing, it's just temporary and not going to get you forward to where you want to be. And work on some life, figure out what you want in your life. Spend some time reflecting on it.
Yeah.
Get a tea or a coffee and go sit by the water or a lake or a park or something like that and go, what the heck do I want? It's like you're in the store and you can buy anything you want. We get to co-create anything we want. So divorce is unfortunate many times. However, if we reframe it as this opportunity to build something different, may as well, you're divorced. You're not coming back. So
Yeah.
let's work on putting something really powerful together.
Yeah. I think that there's so much fear that goes along with it.
Mm.
And I just want to remind everyone who's listening, like, we can do hard things. And oftentimes we will go 5, 10, 20 steps ahead and like disasterize what's going to happen up there. But when we can just look at what's the next step that I need to take and really work your way through it, it's it's going to be okay on the other side.
Yeah. I love that. It's just putting that one step in front of the other. And before you know it, as we keep going, you've created something beautiful for yourself.
Yeah.
It's like an artist with a blank canvas. They probably don't always know what they're going to paint. I don't think Van Gogh got up one day and said, I'm going to paint those haystacks. I'm sure it just comes. So yeah, that's basically some of my pointers for some takeaways for today that you can start implementing yourself. If anyone's listening in that situation.
Yeah. Well, and when I was saying you can do hard things, I was thinking about like how overwhelming it is, not just the divorce itself, but as someone who is a former financial planner, like that whole thing can feel completely overwhelming having to do it all on your own. So, like the fact that you're there and supporting women through this process is so incredibly valuable. So, if you or if someone that you love is thinking about divorce, in the middle of a divorce, whatever it is, know that there is help available.
Oh, definitely. And I do have a course. I call it summer school. It takes place, it'll probably take place in about July, late June, early July. And it's Finance 101, which is if you have a PhD in economics, it's not for you. It's for my clients that really the integral how a credit card works and how do you buy investment certificates and what's a credit rating and all these things that people really need. It's just the foundations. You just might not know, so it's not a big deal. I get you. So look out for that. It's fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever I'm faced with something that feels overwhelming, I'm like, I know that there are people who are a lot less smart than me who have figured this out. So it is figure outable.
Yes, so true, and I come from a family my father was a chartered accountant, and, he taught finance and accounting at a university, so I think for me, I just I all my life, this is what I've been taught to do and how to look after these things,
Mhm.
so but I probably couldn't make a decent meatloaf. I don't know, I can't make puff pastry, and he you know what I mean? Or I can't ride a horse very well, we all have our thing, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Oh, amazing. So, is there anything else that you would like to share with folks who are listening?
Yeah, I mean, if anyone would like to hear a little bit more about what I do, potentially just you can email me or we'll have my email in the show notes, Valerie@masteryofbalance.com. And look for my summer school offering that will be coming out very in the summer, obviously, and give it a go. The more you learn, sometimes the more you learn, the better questions know to ask when you're confronted in a situation, and it's very I make it fun. I laugh at myself, and, I try to make it as fun as possible, but also teaching some techniques, and I find that, my clients have been very happy with that, and they're able to either build on it or stay with that information, as I said, know what questions to ask.
So, yeah, for anyone who's listening, we are going to have all of Valerie's information in the show notes and that link to summer school as well. And so, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate everything that you shared with us. I think that being a divorced woman is an area that is so underserved. So, thank you from all the women who need your service. Yeah.
Well, thank you, and thank you so much for having me and letting me talk about it's my passion now, it's my calling now, And I think that it's figureoutable, as you say.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Whew. That was such a powerful conversation, wasn't it? What I loved most about talking with Valerie is how real and grounded she is. Like, yes, divorce is messy, emotional, and sometimes downright exhausting, but also it can be the beginning of something entirely new. So, if you're in this season of life, figuring out who you are now or how to move forward when your world feels upside down, here's what I want you to remember. First, you don't have to do it alone. There's a difference between venting to a friend and getting support that actually moves you forward. Valerie offers that kind of support. Also, you're allowed to grieve and rebuild at the same time. You can feel loss and still feel excited about the future. They can coexist. That doesn't make you broken, it makes you human. And if you want to learn more about working with Valerie, make sure to check out the show notes for her contact information and details about her summer program, Summer School, which walks you through the financial foundations that many of us didn't learn growing up, but definitely need now. And if this episode resonated with you, or you know someone who needs to hear it, please share it. You never know who's quietly struggling, and your share might be the thing that helps her to feel less alone. Thank you for listening to the Total Health in Midlife podcast. That's all I have for you today. Have an amazing week, and I will talk to you next time. Bye-bye. Hey, so if you've been nodding along and thinking, okay, I know what to do, Elizabeth, I'm just not doing it, I have got something for you. It's my free podcast listener's guide. It's a curated roadmap to help you get started with the most helpful episodes based on exactly what you need right now. Go to elizabethsherman.com/roadmap and take the guesswork out of where to begin with the Total Health and Midlife podcast.